Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekly morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about how the FTX bankruptcy is going, because it seems now that all of the FTX customers that lost money to the tune of almost $10 billion in November of the year before last, 2022, may be receiving all of their funds back. Today, we're going to be talking about that news story and why it may mean a rally coming for Bitcoin if it turns out to be true, that in the next 2 years, everyone who lost money with FTX could very soon be getting it all back. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live. My name is Crypto Jeb, otherwise known as Jeb McAfee, and I am very excited to be here today because we are on a mission to teach you guys how to live the life of financial sovereignty. You see, the wonderful thing about living the financially sovereign life is that when you do, you have control over the things in your life rather than them controlling you, and that is where true freedom comes from. Make no mistake, I have nothing against the phrasing financial freedom. What I have against all of the teaching that's going on right now is that the teaching that goes on financially is enslave yourself to the banks by getting a bunch of debt. Enslave yourself to the banks by using their credit cards. Enslave yourself to chaos by spending on yourself because it's called self-care. We were just talking about this yesterday, my wife and I. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that some people consider it a hobby to go and spend money. Like, my favorite thing is to go shopping. It's not like, oh, my favorite thing is to go, oh, yeah, I like food. Oh, that's great. No, just totally. Spend money. Enjoy it. But some people's favorite thing to do, I'm just realizing this, their favorite thing to do is just to spend money. It's just to be chaotic with it. Just spend it. It's nuts. We know of this one person. She goes to Goodwill every single weekend, buys $300 worth of stuff, furniture, has tons of stuff. It's a hoarding culture. We've got issues with money, guys. When you live a financially sovereign life and you say, I am going to be the one in control of it, not the other way around, no one else is going to control my life except for myself and my spouse and the God we serve, then your life gets better. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And so for everyone who had money on FTX that unfortunately lost it and was no longer sovereign over it, it very well seems that you may be getting some of it back soon. So, very exciting times. Joe Bollier is in chat, said, good morning, Jeb. Crypto Cousins said, good morning, Crypto Fam. Alex Nibo's in chat, said, good morning. Coin Operator said, let's go. Philly Skills 1428 said, morning, Jeb. How's it going, man? Going pretty well. How are you? Cosmin B said, good morning, my friend. Good morning. Queen said, financial sovereignty or nada. Peter P said, good morning. Queen said, preach, preacher. Dino Dragons in chat said, market gone stale. It has a little bit in the last few weeks, yeah. People get bored when Bitcoin corrects. But that's when people that make money in the cryptocurrency space make money. Crypto Pinky said, hello from Norway. Joy Van Englenberg said, greetings from the Netherlands. And Crypto Maxi said, good morning, Jeb. Good morning to you as well. Ashkiro Moxie said, hello, what altcoins will you discuss today? Well, I like to take suggestions, so you guys can tell me what you'd like to see, and we will discuss it. Shout out to everyone here. Crypto Maxi said, absolutely. Let's get started. Bitcoin is currently trading at $62,333. It is down 1.67% in the last 24 hours, up 8.74% in the last 7 days. Ethereum is up 4.33% in the last 7 days and is trading at $3,000. Binance is up 6% in the last 7 days, and Solana is still up a staggering 20% in the last 7 days, despite only trading at $147. It went through a major corrective movement, and that's where it is as of right now. Toncoin up 23% in the last 7 days, but going through a correction in the last 24 hours. Cardano up 1.31% in the last 7 days, but down 1.43% in the last 24 hours, so it's largely been sideways for the last week. Avalanche is up in the last 7 days, down in the last 24 hours. Sheeb, again, also up in the last 7 days, down in the last 24 hours. Speaking in broad strokes here, we've got an attempt at a market recovery going on right now in the crypto markets, but we don't have any reason to believe that that has actually really gotten its wings under it yet. If we look at Bitcoin, some of the promising signals that we had seen yesterday are now seeming to be not so promising, because those promising signals of Bitcoin breaking above this downtrending level of resistance are starting to really lead us to question whether or not we're going to be able to have a bull flag form here. We talked about a bull flag possibility yesterday, and so far Bitcoin is breaking bearish out of that. In fact, Bitcoin is trading to the downside, falling back down towards this downtrending level of currently support. It was resistance, but we're falling back to that level as of right now. If we zoom in here as well, what we'll see is that Bitcoin is witnessing a falling wedge. And so this falling wedge is very interesting, because this falling wedge denotes that we might be able to see a bounce here. Falling wedges typically will break bullish 70% of the time. 70% of the time, Bitcoin falling wedges will break bullish. This is a falling wedge, and so there is a high possibility that it could break bullish from here. So let's keep that in mind and pay close attention to that chart formation. All in all, though, the market is looking, as was stated, rather stale. Polkadot is up 7% in the last 7 days, down 1.34% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin Cash up 14% in the last 7 days, down 4% in the last 24 hours. Overall, the last 24 hours have been relatively bearish for the majority of the space. That being said, we've got a very interesting story here coming out from all media sources that FTX customers may be getting all of their money back less than 2 years after the collapse. FTX says that nearly all of its customers will receive the money back that they are owed 2 years after the cryptocurrency exchange imploded, and some will get more than that. Wow. Absolutely remarkable. FTX says that nearly all of its customers will receive the money back that they are owed 2 years after the cryptocurrency exchange imploded. FTX said in a court filing late Tuesday that it owes about $11.2 billion to its creditors. Whew. That's a chunk of change right there. The exchange estimates that it has between $14.5 and $16.3 billion to distribute to them. Wow. So the appreciation in the cryptocurrency markets has led to that, because most of the assets were held in cryptocurrency, which could have been a good thing, could have been a bad thing. Of course, we believe in crypto, so it ended up being a good thing. So what we are seeing here is that there's likely going to be a return of at least a good portion of the funds. The filing said that after paying claims in full, the plan provides for supplemental interest payments to creditors to the extent that funds still remain. The interest rate for most creditors is 9%. Wow. Not bad. Not a bad interest rate. Not as good as you would have gotten in Bitcoin, but you're not going to get a interest rate like that on a high yield savings account. That's almost US stock market kind of returns. That may be a diminished consolation for investors who were trading cryptocurrency on the exchange when it collapsed. When FTX sought bankruptcy protection in November 2022, Bitcoin was going for $16,000. So of course, that's a 290% loss. So as I said, 9% is not hardly anything compared to what they would have had if they had held it in Bitcoin, but at least they will be getting the principal back with a little bit of interest. It's better than nothing. So, oops, sorry. We will see what happens from here, and we will be watching this story closely, but the FTX bankruptcy estate, I do believe, is going to have a very good chance at getting the funds returned. And again, the reason for that is because most of the funds were stored in cryptocurrency, and so very excited to see if we're going to be getting that back. So let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Jason Berry said, looks to be a boring crypto summer. See how inflation numbers go over the next few readings. My 2 cents. That's right. It very well may be. Shadrach Frost said, good morning at Queen. Good morning. Josh Rung said, thumbs down to SBF. Sam Bankman-Fried, of course, not the most popular individual in the cryptocurrency space. All right. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin here, because I want to discuss what happens next. You see, we've been talking about this possibility of an inverse head and shoulders pattern happening for a while now, and that pattern very well may end up playing out sooner than we expected. You see, what's going on here is what is known as an inverse head and shoulders pattern setup. If you've watched through the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, then you will be aware of the inverse head and shoulders pattern. We've taught on it for years. The inverse head and shoulders pattern is a pattern that is designed to help the market, or it's not a design, but it's a pattern that shows us how the market may go through a bottoming formation and rally. And essentially what it constitutes is a series of consecutive peaks, with the central peak being the lowest peak. So you have this first corrective movement, then you have this second corrective movement. This plays out an ABC Elliott wave corrective formation as you can see right here, moving into the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And then from there, you go through a 1, 2, 3 breakout. And then a lot of times you'll go through a 4, 5 breakout with an Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. And you will break even higher from there. But Bitcoin rallies up to about $66,000 recently. We rallied up to about $65,500. If Bitcoin does drop down here to about $60,000, then we will finish the first half of the right shoulder of the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And then should we bounce off of $60,000 and start rallying to the upside, then that gives us every reason to believe that an inverse head and shoulders pattern is actually playing out. Our shoulder line will be right here. I'll draw it in white. So it would be coming in at this very instant right there. This inverse head and shoulders pattern would look a little something like this. And so we would see a price target to be drawn just like this, to be extrapolated. And where does that send us? It sends us to about $76,000, which is higher than our current all-time high that sits roughly at $73,500. So very exciting stuff. Very, very, very exciting stuff indeed. And so I am looking forward to seeing if Bitcoin is going to come back down to $60,000 and be able to bounce from there. I've got reasons to believe that it might. If we look out here on the daily chart, then we're going to see that that would roughly be a back test towards the region of this white uptrending level of support. We have sat on top of this white uptrending level of support for a very long time. And so with that white uptrending level of support, we have good reason to believe that should we hit that level of support, that we would be able to bounce from there in a similar way that we saw here, for example. When we had originally fell back down to the uptrending level of support here, we bounced sharply and rallied up to about $32,000. That's something that I would potentially expect to see continue relatively soon. So very excited to see what's going to happen next on Bitcoin. Stay tuned for more information and content on that. If you guys are enjoying today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps to support the channel immensely. Thank you so much to everyone who has continued to support the channel. By the way, if you've not already, make sure to go to nordvpn.com/Jeb and sign up for a 2-year plan and protect yourself for the duration of the bull market, because when you are investing, it is absolutely critical that you invest in your own security. That is why we brought NordVPN on as a sponsor, and we're very proudly being sponsored by them, because they will help to protect you by shrouding your IP address while you browse online. So make sure to check them out with the link down below. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. Thank you again to everyone who has tuned in. Quinn Daughtery in chat. Drian said, I reckon September bull starts. Very very likely, very possible. Quinn Daughtery said, took a fall with some moderate injuries, nothing permanent. Glad to be back at work and watching the show. I am so sorry to hear that, Quinn. Hopefully you are okay. Say a prayer for you. If the inverse head and shoulders pattern plays out, when alt season? Probably sometime this summer, moving into this early fall. I think the altcoin season is going to be big, but it's going to take time for the altcoin season to kick off. It's not going to happen all at once. It's going to, we're going to kind of lean into it. We're going to roll into the altcoin season. Right now, there's a lot of apprehension in the cryptocurrency space because people are saying, alrighty, well, Bitcoin just rallied for a year and a half straight. What's going on? This can't rally forever. Bitcoin rallied 380%. We need a correction, so we're seeing that correction. So the bearishness in the space is not surprising, and if we look down here on the shorter term time frames and we just focus on stuff like this inverse head and shoulders pattern, we can think, okay, it's over soon, and it might be. But it also may not be. It may be that Bitcoin needs a longer period of correction before we can actually begin a major uptrend, and that is totally fine. Remember what we talked about. Bitcoin's market dominance is still growing. It is still gaining market dominance against the altcoins. The market dominance over here on Bitcoin a month ago was 52.65%. Right now, it's 53.56%. So Bitcoin is still gaining market dominance, which is something that normally happens during the first half, during the bear market and during the first 1/3 to 1/2 of the bull market. And so with Bitcoin market dominance growing, that leads us to the conclusion that the bull market is far from over. We have never seen Bitcoin not rally at least double 12 months after a halving. And we also have the Bitcoin ETFs online. An Ethereum ETF could be coming at any point in the future. It just went online in Hong Kong. We just saw a Bitcoin ETF go online on the same day. There is a huge amount of adoption going on, and so I'm very confident that the markets are going to be just fine. But we do have to give them the time that they need to develop. So altcoin season, I think, will be coming before you know it. But for now, we are taking a bit of a break, and that's something that we shouldn't be concerned about at all. DJ Morales is in chat, said, hi, Jeb, greetings. Good morning. Crypto Independent said, we need more retail. Verhoofty Floofin said, we need more patience. I like that. Yes, like I said, guys, we have to always follow the laws of money. You see, this is where people tune out. This is where people tune out of what I'm saying. But the wise among you will listen to what I'm about to say. The wise among you will listen when I tell you that the way you generate wealth is not just riding the wave up. This is one of the biggest misconceptions in crypto that I have been fighting against for years. It is not just about riding the market to the upside. That's not the only way you build wealth. We've got to drill that into our heads. And sometimes, when the market is boring like this, we've got to step back and say, there's still a lot that we've got to do. We've still got a lot of work to do on our finances. We've still got a lot of work to do on every area. And you know, it's so interesting to me, it's so telling to me that there's so much foolishness in crypto that I have been I've been guilty of, that you've been guilty of thinking, it's just about buying Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin, I get rich. I buy altcoins, I get rich. Friends, it is not that simple. We've got to choose to follow the laws of money. I've been preaching this. I've been shouting this from the rooftops for a long time. We have got to step back and say, it is time for us to have a budget, a plan for our money. It is time for us to have an investment plan. I just made a video on it yesterday. Go back and watch that video I just shot yesterday if you haven't already. It was a great video, and you definitely ought to check it out. We've got to be generous. People like you when you're generous. God smiles on you when you're generous. It gives us fulfillment and satisfaction and a reason to keep going. The science has proven this. People that are generous tend to be some of the most joyful people in the world, and people that have joy tend to bounce back from hardships and tragedies much easier. We've got to be generous. We've got to be willing to invest and save for the future, but we've got to have a plan on that. We've got to be getting out of debt. We've got to be choosing to live financially sovereign. And when we do that, we will succeed with money, regardless of what the market does. Let's get a one in chat. Actually, I'm going to poll this. Does it stress you out that your financial plans seem to be at the whim of the crypto markets? Does it stress you out that your financial plans seem to be at the whims of the crypto markets? Because I know that I've been in that boat, being stressed out that, oh man, it just like, oh my goodness. The market's going down. Oh, it's bugging me. It's bugging me. Oh my, it's bothering me that the market's going down. It feels like I can't control this. I can't control which direction the market is going. And so that really leads you in this direction of saying, oh my gosh, like I want to be the one in control of my financial destiny, not the Bitcoin market. I love the Bitcoin market. I'm going to use it, but I want to be the one dictating where my finances go, not just a market. Right? Maybe I didn't ask that question correctly. Maybe you guys can understand what I'm saying here. I want to feel that I am the one that is in control of my financial destiny. And part of that means that I've got to be able to take control of the things that I can take control of. And I just want you to know that there are so many things in your financial destiny, in your financial life, that you can take control of. It's not all about where the market goes. It's also about where we go and what we do. I am shocked to see so many of you guys saying no. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that it doesn't stress you out. What stresses a lot of people out is they feel like, oh my goodness, everything is unsteady because the market's going down. Oh, I'm afraid. The market's going up. Oh, I'm joyful. No, I want to be joyful all the time. The way that we get to be joyful all the time is that we are always doing the things that we need to be doing. And that's not just betting on a market. It is also having a budget. It is also saving. It is also paying off debt. It is doing these things. Verhoofty Floofin said, anything less than 5 years of chart data is just noise. There is a lot of truth to that, Verhoofty Floofin. Absolutely. Delayed gratification since 2020, Queen said. I love, love, love it. It's a tradition in my family when we go out to eat to pray for our server. We ask them what they would want us to pray for. Then we leave a handsome tip for them at the end to brighten up their day. That's very cool. I love that. Arthur DeVroom said, my rest is in Christ. Good. Queen said, freedom advocate. Travis Michael, stress me out? No. Make me second guess some of my investments? Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. There was a show one time, and it was a kids show, and this kid was like, his dad walked in. And he said, Dad, are you happy or are you sad today? And the dad's like, Oh, I'm doing great, buddy. And then so the kid turned, and this very rich family, the kid turned to his friends and said, "Oh, the stock market must be up today." It's like, that's not what I want my child to say, right? I don't want my child to say, "Oh, daddy's in a good mood because the stock market's up." Like, I don't want my child to say, "Oh, daddy's in a good mood because Bitcoin's up." It doesn't really bother me when the market goes down because I've learned how to build out everything else around it. But when, like, in the very early days when I was just like watching the markets all day long, and my entire plan was Bitcoin's going to go up and I'm going to get rich. That stresses you out because if Bitcoin doesn't go up, then you're like, crap, I'm going to go broke, right? I'm talking like 6 years ago now. But when I first got started, that stressed me out a lot. And I had to come to the realization that no, the reason that I'm stressed out is not because of Bitcoin. The reason I'm stressed out is because I'm betting the farm on one investment rather than betting the farm on my own control over my own finances, which is FinSolve. All right. Liliana A said, "Hi, Jeb. Please answer my question." Let's see. I don't see your question. I'm reading all the chat right now. It may have blocked it. Could you ask it again? Really looking forward to you guys being able to call in because then you guys can go ahead and tell me that way. The dollar ain't doing so hot. I'm just buckling up for the ride. Yes. Yes. Queen said crypto independent. Carter Pennington said, good morning, Jeb. What coins you DCAing into in today? When I'm DCAing, it's always going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum first, unless I've just got such a massive amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum that I just really need to shore up the altcoins. After that, it'd probably be Solana, some Cardano, some Chainlink. I love Chainlink. Very big fan of Chainlink. Near Protocol, Internet Computer. These are all great projects. Uniswap. These are all great projects. Cool. All right. Let's read a little bit more chat. Sorry for talking so much. Just never made it for the live stream. Oh, you're not bothering anybody, Crypto Independent. You're not bothering anybody. Yep, I've only seen you chat like once. You said we need more retail, and you said hashtag FinSolve. You're not talking too much. You're fine. It's like watching the roulette table. Bet on red or black. Then if it hits on green, you can't get stressed. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is that we need to take such control over our financial lives that the whims of the market are not stressing us out because we are the ones that are ultimately in charge of our own financial destiny. I don't want chaos to be in charge of your financial destiny. If you are not budgeting and making a plan for your money every month, then you are letting chaos be in control of your financial destiny. I don't want instant gratification to steal your future. If we're not saving and investing for the future, then instant gratification is stealing from us. We don't want all of that. The dollar is killing us, and that will be the case for a few more months at minimum, it seems, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump back on over to CoinMarketCap. We're going to talk about a few other coins. I want to talk about Ethereum here for a quick, brief moment, because Ethereum has been in a very interesting holding pattern. You see, ETH is in this very, very powerful uptrend, and has been for a time. We rallied starting in October of 2023 from $1,500 all the way up here to $4,000. Major rally. Was very excited about that. All right, and from there, we ended up seeing Ethereum go through a corrective movement as such. During the time of that corrective movement, we have seen Ethereum drop all the way back down to this uptrending level of support on the regular chart. This is not on the linear chart. This is on the regular chart. It kind of shows up on the log chart, but not as cleanly. On the regular chart, we've dropped back down to this level of support, and we're in this falling wedge. And so we have a support architecture right here, as well as support around $2,700 based on support right here, set in April and May of 2022, and support set here in September of 2021. And so we have reason to believe that Ethereum will very shortly bounce bullish from this level, and we will break higher. Now, here's the question. Can it? That's going to come down to whether or not the rest of the cryptocurrency space can actually go into an uptrend. And that's going to come down to whether or not Bitcoin is able to bottom out and start an uptrend. Right now, there's quite a degree of uncertainty and doubt and fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the cryptocurrency space. Are we going to be able to see a major rally? I think one is going to come, but we've got to see the confidence come back. There's not confidence in the market right now. But the good news is Ethereum and Bitcoin, the two largest by a long shot cryptocurrencies, are sitting in position where they could be done with their corrective movement. Bitcoin's total drop was 23%. That's the biggest drop that we've seen thus far this bull market. We've seen Ethereum drop from $4,000 all the way down to $2,953. That is a 28% drop, larger than anything we have seen so far in this corrective movement. We saw a 30% drop over here, but that was only a $600 drop. In this case, this was in grand total a $1,200 drop. So from a real size standpoint, it was twice as large. It was almost as large on a percentage basis as well. And so we've seen the corrections. We've seen the corrective movements. Now the question is, how do we prepare ourselves? Well, it is very important that we're following a plan. We call that our investment plan, that we're dollar cost averaging in on the way up. All of this movement down here on the shorter term time frame is not something that we should be concerning ourselves with too much. We need to focus on the big picture. The big picture is that with Bitcoin and Ethereum, if you hold them for 5 years, you end up making money. At any point in time, if you hold Bitcoin or Ethereum for 5 years, you end up making money. Even here, 2018 to 2023, Ethereum was still, January to January, Ethereum was still up. It was down just a little bit on the 5 years, right? But we had seen a huge rally from January to January of 2023. We were still basically up if you gave it 5 years, right? Any other point in here, right here, of course, you give it 5 years later, we're massively up, right? So you buy low and you hold on. If you bought at the peak in November of 2021 and you hold until 2026, November of 2026, it is not a guarantee, but it is extremely likely that you'll be seeing a gain on that investment. And that's how investment works. Cryptocurrency is slowly but surely transitioning to act a lot more like the stock market, and it's happening right under our noses. We are seeing the US stock market go through a rally, which, by the way, we had every reason to say that it could have gone down. Stock market is rallying. Very bullish news. We'll probably bring Bitcoin with it soon. Bitcoin's been going through this correction as the S&P 500 has been going through this correction. As S&P starts to break above 530, which is our current all-time high, or 524 rather, that's our current all-time high, Bitcoin will almost certainly go with it. Bitcoin is starting to look a lot more like the stock market, and that's a good thing. That gives us more confidence. I want to invest in something that I can say to myself with confidence, if I buy it now, even if I buy it at a terrible price, and I hold it for 5 years, I will still be in a profit. That's how it works in the US stock market. That's how it works in most precious metals. That's how it works in any investment that you should consider. If you buy it and you hold it for 5 years, there should be at least a 95% chance that you are going to have more money than you had when you put in it. If you put your money into investments like that, your risk approaches zero if you're planning on holding it for the long term. And if you're not planning on holding it for the long term, you're not an investor, you're a trader, and you dang well better know what you're doing, because trading's a lot harder. And it takes a lot more work. So, if you want to succeed with crypto or the stock market or any kind of investment, you've got to stop thinking that there's something different about investing in crypto than there is in the stock market. There's not. It's a hotter industry, the same way the internet was hot 25 years ago. It's a very hot industry, but it's becoming a more mature industry, and it's going to end up using, and it is already still, using the exact same principles as stock investing. You buy it and you hold it for a long time. It works the same way as if you buy a rental property. You buy it and you hold it and you rent it for a long time. The same way you do with speculative land investment. Oh, I think a Walmart's going to come here one day. You buy it and you hold it and you do that for a long time. That's how you invest. That's how you make money. It's that simple. It's common sense. It ain't too common anymore. We want to make it so freaking complicated. Like investing in crypto is this rocket science. It's not. It's not rocket science. It's a hell of a lot easier than most people want to make it out to be. It's not about picking this one coin that's going to 1000x, because what people have forgotten is that you've got to factor in the risk profile. If you do not believe that there is a 95% likelihood that a coin will be worth more in 5 years than it is now, don't buy it. Don't buy it. If you're not confident that it will be worth more in 5 years than it is right now, do not buy that coin. I would sooner it take you 2 more years to become a millionaire than to get to being worth $700,000 and then you lose your freaking butt because you invested in a bunch of projects that while they may have rallied for the bull market, they got rug pulled and the bottom fell out from under them all at once and you lost everything and you had to start over and it ended up taking you 10 more years to become a millionaire. You thought you'd get there in 5 years? I'm telling you, take a slightly slower, slightly safer route, get there in 7 years, and then keep building. That is how people have built wealth for all time. They do something that works, and they do it over and 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 over again for decades. If your strategy will leave you broke at some point in the next 20 years, that's a bad strategy. That is not a smart strategy. That is D-U-M-B and his brother S-T-U-P-I-D. That is what that is. That is not a strategy that will build you wealth. Please, 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 please buy assets that you believe will be worth more 5 years from now. Liliana A said, please, Jeb, answer my question. I will as soon as I can see it. I'm sorry, I don't see... the only 2 chats I see from you, Liliana, might be Liliana, I'm not sure. The only 2 chats I see from you are the 2 chats of you saying that, please answer my question. But hey, Liliana, I want to let you know we are working right now. We've got a lot of stuff going on, but we're working right now on getting a phone system set up. And we are going to be setting it up where you guys are able to call into the stream and directly ask your questions live on air. So if that's a question that might do well for that, then you're welcome to ask it here, and you can also ask it again later. But just so you know, we will be having that coming online soon, and that'll end up being a lot of the show because I want to interact with you guys and answer your most pressing questions. That has always been my favorite part of the stream, is the asking questions component of things. And we'll start off the show with 10 to 15 minutes of looking at the market probably, but after that we'll be taking callers and talking to you guys. And you know what's funny? Nobody in crypto takes callers, and the reason is because 1, they're worried about being trolled, or 2, they're worried that they don't know what they're talking about and they don't want to be put on the spot. It's gonna call out everybody real quick. A lot of people don't want to do it. It's just not the content that they're going for, and that's totally fine. But I think a lot of people are worried to bring callers on. In fact, I happen to know some people that I know that this is their stance. I won't say who. That they're worried to bring callers on because they think there'll be trolls. Guess what? I got a mute button right here. You want to troll? Click. It's called the red hang up button. We've gotten so nice as a culture. We think it's impolite to hang up on somebody that's being mean. I had to convince somebody to block somebody that was stalking them. Like, people are so worried about being... Listen, my goal is not to be nice. My goal is to be kind. There's a difference. Kind people follow what is known as the law of kindness. The Bible in Proverbs 31 says the law of kindness is always on her lips. Speaking of the Proverbs 31 woman, which is just a personification of wisdom itself, a wise person follows the law of kindness. But someone who is kind is not always going to be nice. Someone who is kind is not always going to protect your precious fifis, because your precious fifis may be the thing that is stopping you from getting free. But a kind person cares about you enough to tell you that you're wrong. Sometimes in a way that's going to shock the system a little bit because they only got 5 minutes with you, and they really need to get it through your head that this has got to stop. I'm all for being nice. I'm not for being weak, and unfortunately people have conflated kindness with weakness, and they are not the same thing. Kindness and love come from the same part of the tree. They're very, very similar. Love and kindness are not always about protecting your precious feelings or my precious feelings. There have been plenty of people that were being kind to me 5 years from now by correcting me today, because for the betterment of me and everybody who has to put up with me every day, they have to correct something in me. It is the kind thing to say, stop. Like, this is wrong. Whatever you're doing, this is whatever it is, right? I'm not even sure how I got on that rant, but oh, I know what it was. Because it's, we're so worried about being nice. I'm not worried about being nice. I'm worried about being kind. I'll always be kind to you. My heart is always for you. I am always trying to help you grow. I always want you to succeed. I always want you to be better tomorrow than you are today. I always want to see your life getting better. That is why you are here. This is the way that I help you to live a better, more fulfilling life. But that also means saying, hey, look, dude, you've got your hand on the stove, and apparently you have no pain receptor, so take it off the stove. Now, right? You ought to be afraid of that. You ought to run from that. It's a fearful thing to be a fool. And listen, I know all about being a fool because I'm the chief of them, right? Sometimes I've had to say to myself, stop, Jeb. Stop. You got to like grab yourself by the head and look in the mirror and shake your head like, listen to me, quit, right? You've had to do it with yourself. Don't lie. If you haven't ever done that to yourself, then you are the most narcissistic person on the planet. We have all had to look ourselves in the mirror and said, well, I've got to change this. Like, I can't do that no more. And sometimes we need somebody in love and in kindness, but not necessarily in the most protecting our precious feelings way, tell us that what we're doing is going to hurt us. When I correct my son, that's not my favorite thing in the world to do, to correct my son. But when I correct my son, I tell him, look, Malachi, I am correcting you now. And he's a great kid, by the way. I don't have to correct him very much. He literally just walked up to my wife this morning because he's been well-trained and he's been brought up in the fear of the Lord, that when he is older, he shall not depart is our prayer, and I believe it's going to happen. He walked up and walked up to my wife and said, Mommy, you're a nice mommy. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, he's such a good boy. But anyway, whenever I correct him, I say to myself, I'm like, and I say to him sometimes, Malachi, I'm not correcting you necessarily for today's Malachi's benefit. I am correcting you for 5 minutes from now, Malachi, for 10 minutes from now, from a year from now, for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. I am correcting you from this behavior so that this doesn't become an issue when you're an adult, so that you don't wind up in the wrong side of eternity. I am correcting this behavior in you now so that you are someone that you want to be one day. Because I look back and I think to myself, man, I wish somebody had corrected me on some of the nonsense I've thought or nonsense I've done. I have watched myself make such a fool of myself so many times in my life. And sometimes we just need to be, hey, I love you, but don't do that again. Stop. No. Boundaries are cool. There's nothing unloving about boundaries. Boundaries are not nice, but I frankly don't really care. Boundaries are not the nicest thing in the world. I'm always going to be kind. I'm always for you. I always love you. I always want you to do better. And I will, for the most part, always be very nice. I'm very, very, very nice and kind to people. It takes a lot for me to just kind of tell somebody like, hey, you're being a knucklehead. Quit it. Yeah. So I'm excited for callers. You guys are going to get it, though. I'm going to tell you guys what's up. You accept amphibious callers, yes? Oh, of course. We accept callers of all race, creed, and national origin on the Crypto Jeb Show. Absolutely. We do not discriminate based on whether you're warm-blooded or cold-blooded. If a politician calls on, I will say it is totally fine. We accept cold-blooded snakes on this program. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, my goodness. Someone, you said, dang, you have those combos too. I do, because I want to be the best. See, I told my wife, we were talking about our marriage, and I said, out of my life, demand perfection. I demand perfection out of our life. I demand it. And that doesn't mean that we're ever going to get there. On this side of heaven, we will never reach perfection. But I demand that everything that I touch operates perfectly. That is my requirement. The book of Matthew, Jesus says, be ye therefore perfect, as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. You see, new translations translate that as, be ye therefore complete, as your Father which is in heaven is. That doesn't make much sense to me. What Jesus was saying was be perfect, like your Father in heaven. His point in saying that is not to be complete and whole, lacking nothing, although that is something that Paul teaches also. The point is to say the standard is perfection. I will demand perfection out of every area of my life. I also have the meekness and the humility to understand that that will never happen. And so if my son falls short, or if my wife falls short, or if I fall short, or if you fall short, I'm going to love you and me and them through that. I'm not going to beat people up and condemn them, for there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. I am going to, however, say, all right, but let's do better next time, because that's where we're reaching for. We're reaching for perfection, and that's what I want for you guys in your finances. When you guys call on, it's going to be great, because I'm going to say, look, my goal for you is for you to absolutely perfect this. And just like Stymie said, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence, quoting Vince Lombardi, which is exactly my point. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. The way that I said it last month when we were on a trip, I said, I know that we will never reach perfection, but I also know that I'll get a lot closer than the people that are just reaching for being good. And so it is very important that we set the bar ridiculously high. Let's shoot for the stars, and if we miss and hit the moon, we'll still be higher than most. So yes, we will be accepting amphibious callers. Don't worry, the agnostic amphibian. Hello, Jeb. How can someone hold Bitcoin for a long time? What about the people who lost their money because they didn't sell on time? Liliana A. Great question. I finally see your question. So, here's the deal. I want you guys investing with a 10-year time horizon. 10 years. I want you to hold on to Bitcoin for at least 5 to 10 years. When you buy Bitcoin, I don't necessarily want you buying it for the cycle. There's a lot of you guys that are in a position, you're like, hey, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to sell it. If it doubles or triples, I'm going to pay off my mortgage. Awesome. Great. That's fine. But I want you to treat some of your Bitcoin like a retirement account. I'm going to hold it for a decade. You see, there's 2 ways to answer that question. Number one, the way that you actually sell the asset, which is once you start approaching where you believe the all-time high is, you start selling a percentage of the portfolio every single week. And you do that based on a percentage of the portfolio. So you start off with like 1% a week, 2% a week, 3% a week, and then you scale up as you seem to be getting closer to the all-time high. You understand where the all-time high is by listening to people that do technical analysis on a daily basis like myself, but also, of course, by learning technical analysis from people like myself that teach technical analysis. The second part of that equation, though, is that I want you to squirrel away some of the Bitcoin for the long run. I have some Bitcoin that I left aside for my 5 siblings. I put a half a Bitcoin into a fund and gave it to mom and dad a long time ago. And I don't think any of them are listening to this because this was 5 years ago and the 3 youngest still don't even know that this exists. And I said, do not give this to them until they are 21 or they have graduated college. It is up to your discretion. And so back then, half a Bitcoin was worth about $3,000. At this point, half a Bitcoin is worth about $30,000. But it has been held onto and not touched for 5 years. Has not been touched a bit. And so I'm very excited to tell you that it works. Buying and holding for the long term. So on the one hand, how do you buy and hold Bitcoin for a long time? Well, I'll give you an example of that in just a second. One of our sponsors will help you with that. But if you hold it for long enough, you're not going to have to worry about losing your money. I don't think. I think Bitcoin's here to stay. You've got to make that decision for yourself. But I think it's here to stay. But I believe that it is going to end up being quite easy to find a place to sell it when you hold it for that long. So, yeah. As far as where to store and how to store it, I want you guys to check out Vault by Uphold. Check out the link in the description box down below. Go to products and services and go to Vault. This is on uphold.com. Go to the link down below. And then I want you to come in here and sign up. The way this works is you come in here and you get your subscription. You create your Vault. There is a 30-day free trial. So check that out. That's very cool. Annual plan is the best plan. Best value. It's $50 a year. And the way that this works is that you are able to integrate your cold storage wallet with Uphold itself. So you have access to 24/7 live trading, and you have a proprietary first-in-class system for storing your Bitcoin and XRP. And this works in such a way where you have 3 keys. Uphold holds onto one of them as a backup key and a replacement key, and you hold on to 2 of them. You need 2 keys at any time to access your vault. Should you lose one of your keys, then Uphold will give you their Uphold key, and the Uphold key will stand in the place because the vault can be unlocked with any of the 2 keys. So when you sign up using Vault, you're protecting yourself from the unfortunate travesty of losing your assets, and you're also setting yourself up to be able to access 24/7 live trading from a cold storage wallet. Awesome idea, so make sure to check them out with the link in the description box down below. All right. Fortune favors the brave, Queen said. That's true. As a matter of fact, I also want to let you guys know that today's stream is brought to you in part by Crypto.com. And the reason that I wanted to bring this up today is that Crypto.com just hit a very incredible milestone. Crypto.com just hit 100 million users. Whoa. That's crazy. For anybody who doesn't believe that cryptocurrency is here to stay, ask Crypto.com that has not 100, not 1,000, not a million, 100 million users. That's absolutely incredible. 100 million users are not wrong. They're using Crypto.com for a reason. Are they all wrong? No. They're using Crypto.com for a very good reason. And the reason for that is because Crypto.com is best in class when it comes to user interface. Why does that matter? You know, people wonder, why is Coinbase, why is Crypto.com, why is Binance, why are these the biggest exchanges in the game? And the reason is because they have mastered UI UX. The people that succeed with a habit are the people that make the habit so simple that it is almost impossible to not follow the habit. That's how you got in the habit of drinking coffee every day, because it's simple. And it's enjoyable. That's how you got in the habit of going to the gym. It's simple. And it's enjoyable. You lower the friction barrier. You increase the enjoyment. And that's how people succeed with investment, is they make it simple. Crypto.com has mastered user interface. So make sure to check out Crypto.com with the link in the description box down below and get started here, because this is where you want to go to begin your investment in cryptocurrency markets. Join over 100 million users that are using one of the most popular apps on the entire App Store and start your recurring buys today. Let's read chat for just a minute, and then we're going to wrap it out. Where else would the key be? How could you lose it? Well, unfortunately, private keys can be lost. It has happened plenty of times, which is one of the reasons that cryptocurrency advocates will use something like Uphold. Uphold's vault is because if you were to lose one of your keys, then Uphold will replace the key with their Uphold key. And then you can reset the whole system so that you get back to the you have two keys, they have a replacement key system. It's a little bit like lightning striking. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it can be devastating. And there are stories of people. I've met a security guard at our first building, at our first office, and he was a very joyful guy. I think he was a Christian, so wasn't skin off his back. He's like, it's in the past, can't do anything about it. He's a very happy guy, but it was kind of sad because I knew him for a while, and then he told me one day, I was like, I used to own Bitcoin. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, what happened to it? He said, well, I lost the hard drive. I said, really? How much do you have? He had like 150 Bitcoin. Lost the hard drive. There's a reason that assisted key replacement exists now, and Vault is pioneering it, so make sure to check out them and Crypto.com. Guys, we got to wrap it out. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. By the way, if you've not already, make sure to check out financial coaching with myself and with Sarah. We are both doing financial coaching, and we are very excited to be meeting you guys in the coaching field. I love sitting down and talking with my coaching clients. It is one of my greatest pleasures and joys working here at the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel. So make sure to check that out down below as well. Guys, we are going to wrap it out. Before we go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.